This is Sports Charlotte, powered by Football 704 at thecharlottepost.com. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief at the Post. And with me, Johnson C. Smith University football coach Maurice Flowers, and of course, staff reporter Cameron Williams. So this is a special time of the year. Your schedule has already dropped. It's been out for a little while.
Yes.
But we're going to do a review of what's on the schedule and what it all means, because the games haven't started, but we know what to look forward to. But before we get into that, let's talk about your time in New Orleans at the HBCU Legacy Bowl, and you were there as a coach of Team Gaither.
Yes.
And you just happened to bring along a trio of your players.
Yes.
So what was that like?
Oh, wow. The Legacy Bowl experience, first off, why the Legacy Bowl was created. The meaning behind it, we have to go back to around the COVID year, and when there was a year where there were no HBCU players drafted. And Doug Williams, Shaq Harris came up with the idea of the Legacy Bowl to get the best of HBCU football on one stage. And to be a part of it was just outstanding. Well-ran event, everything was just so organized, and then so many NFL scouts, Canadian League scouts, great opportunity. And you have to earn your way there. That's the best thing about it. Not just for players, but for coaches. The coaching staffs are Team Gaither, the winner of the MEAC conference, and the winner of the CIAA conference. And then for Team Robinson, it's the winners of the SWAC and the winners of the SIAC. So you have conference champions there, co-head coaches, and then each staff brings 5. And so we took 5 coaches along with us while the other coaches stayed and kept off-season workouts going. But we were able to take 3 of our players that earned their way there also. Quarterback Kelvin Durham, wide receiver DeAndre Biggie Proctor, and free safety TJ Tabor. Just a great group of guys, and the experience was outstanding.
What does that say for your program now that you've been here a while now, you've really got your footprint on the program to build something where you're able to take not just one but multiple players to a game like that where all HBCUs, are represented?
Yeah, it's really something that we said that we wanted to do that. I'm thinking back to our first team meeting in 2022. That was one of our goals for the program at that time, was to get the first players from JCSU selected to the Legacy Bowl. And we did it 2 years later, 2024. Bernari Black, linebacker, and Jack Smith were our first 2 players from JCSU to be selected for the Legacy Bowl. And it just says, a lot about our staff and a lot about our young men that commit to this program, that we can achieve great things together. And so if you look at most everything that we've set out to accomplish, we've been doing those things, and getting selected to the Legacy Bowl for players was one thing. And I have to bring this up about Kelvin Durham. He was selected around mid-season to the Legacy Bowl. And I remember just like it was yesterday, he's walking down the hall and he says, "Coach, I've been selected for the Legacy Bowl." He said, "But our staff, if we win the conference, our staff goes, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we do." And he just looked at me and he winked his eye. Right then, I had an idea we were going to go for the championship. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, but it says an awful lot about the program, where the Legacy Bowl has been around, 4 or 5 years?
5 years.
And you go from 0 to 3.
Yes, sir.
During your fourth season at Smith.
Yes, sir. It just says that it really points to our coaching staff. We have quality systems that we have on offense, defense, and special teams that can really highlight players within the system. Where you look on the offensive side, to have a quarterback selected out of all the quarterbacks in HBCU football, and then for Kelvin Durham to be selected as early as he was selected in the process. And then a guy like DeAndre Proctor, who, you look at him, he's a guy that didn't play in 24, but I knew that 25 was going to be big for him because he handled 24 so well. He was injured, but he was not separate from the program. He was with us every single day of practice. He was in meetings in 24. And if a young man is committed like that, he's going to get good results at the end. And then you look at his this season, had over 1,000 yards receiving. And then I'm just so happy for TJ Tabor. He's what we call a day one guy. TJ was part of our first recruiting class when we brought in 53 freshmen. TJ was one of those 53. Started every game for us from year one. We were 2-7 to our championship year. So to have a young man, to have those 3 young men come in and get selected, it just says we're doing a lot of good things, coaching-wise, teaching-wise, recruiting-wise, and then getting the ultimate performance on the field.
It would, I would imagine, be a great honor not only for the player, but for you as a coach, if one of you guys managed to get his name called in April, but or even just to sign a contract, because that's where the NFL is.
Johnson C. Smith, I was just showed a graphic yesterday about, it was the 1970 football team that had, I want to say it was like 8 young men, I believe, off that team were offered NFL contracts or something like that. So it's not something that's brand new to JCSU, but it's something that hasn't happened in a while, and it's going to happen. If you look at different places where our staff has been, we were at Fort Valley State, wide receiver Shamar Bridges. He was in the first Legacy Bowl, and he was with the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the CFL. You look at Emmanuel Wilson, who was the Rookie of the Year here at JCSU, and then he transfers to us at Fort Valley State. He played in the Legacy Bowl. He just finished up his first 3 years in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers, and now he's a free agent getting ready to sign with another team. So it can be done. There's a couple of guys that were out that were playing before the Legacy Bowl that we coached at Fayetteville State. Offensive lineman Keon Smith, who's on his second contract now with the Miami Dolphins, and of course Josh Williams. So you can get it done from an HBCU, and then further than that, you can get it done at JCSU.
My money's on Biggie, actually.
Yeah. Yes, he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
Biggie makes it look easy.
So let's jump into the main event.
Yes.
The schedule and what that looks like. It's different this year.
Yes.
And I'm not exactly sure why, but it is different. And it looks front loaded, where you have 2 teams that made the Division II playoffs last year. That's your first 2 games. None of them were in Charlotte.
Yes.
And then you are also playing 3 teams that have new head coaches.
Yes.
So let's just roll through the schedule and get a little something from you in terms of what you anticipate.
Yes.
Opening the season at Benedict, which made the D2 playoffs last year, and they seem to have a pretty good program there. But when Chinnis Berry left for South Carolina State, they hired a new coach, and a year after that, they're in the playoffs.
Yes. He's done a great job. Coach Dickerson Jr., he's done an outstanding job. He's had an outstanding career every place he's been. He's had success. And to open it up with Benedict in a classic, it's going to be a big challenge for us. But what we're really doing, we know our schedule is really, really challenging. And we're really focused on, we're in this weight room. This is where the work has to be put in right now in this off season through winter workouts. And then as we approach spring practices, we can't waste days, because we're playing a schedule that it has to be one of the tougher ones in Division II. When you're opening up with the team that went to the SIAC championship game, and then they made it to the second round of the Division II playoffs in Super Region 2. So we've got our hands full. Know they're going to be a talented team. They're going to play hard. They're coached well. It's a classic. I believe it's called the Battle of the Border Classic. We've been playing in Columbia at Benedict Stadium. So looking forward to that game. The last time we were there as a coaching staff, we were at Fort Valley, and came away with a pretty big win on that day. So we want to look to continue some winning ways in Columbia, but we know it's gonna come. We're going to put a lot of work into it to get that victory.
That's August 29th at 4 p.m. It's going to be hot.
Yes, yes. We'll be in shape. I love the way that we're running right now. We're running to win. We call it run to win, and we're running to win right now. And we're going to be an in-shape ball club, and we look forward to that day, because it's going to be hot. We're going to be playing a good football team. First game of the season, you always have some unexpected things that happen. But when you're playing a team that has championship experience, playoff experience. You know they're going to put a good product on the field. So we've got to make sure that we limit mistakes and look to be in mid-season form when we take the field.
And September 6th, 8 days later, off to Canton, Ohio for the campus of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but it's the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic.
Yes.
Against Albany State, a team that advanced to the third round of the D2 playoffs last year.
Yes. Go to the third round, which is the quarterfinals of the Division II playoffs, the SIAC champion, and it's a game that we both earned our way to. You have to earn your way to Canton, Ohio to play in the Black College Hall of Fame Classic, where the champion of the SIAC plays the champion of the CIAA. And so it's a game that we take a lot of pride in. We're the defending champions from the CIAA and a playoff team ourselves, and going to make the trip. It's a historic trip for us also. First time we'll be playing in Canton, Ohio, but also get a chance to visit the Hall of Fame and the Black College Hall of Fame. And we had a little experience while at the Legacy Bowl, because the Black College Hall of Fame class gets announced at the Legacy Bowl. So we were there to see the class announced, and then also some of the same members of the Black College Hall of Fame, they represent the Legacy Bowl. They do the same for the Black College Hall of Fame, and that's Doug Williams and James Shaq Harris. So there will be some familiarity there with some of the folks that are actually organizing the whole weekend. But I tell you what, with that football team, there will be some familiarity because, of course, their head coach is David Bowser, who was with us for the last 3 years. We worked together at Fayetteville State, and some of his staff members, we worked together. His offensive line coach and assistant head coach, Chris Holmes, we worked together at Fayetteville State, and he was the offensive line coach at Winston-Salem State. Coach Bowser's defensive line coach, Marcus McElveen, was the defensive coordinator at Winston-Salem State. So there's some familiarity. And then his defensive coordinator, Coach Marcus Hilliard, at one time was the head coach of Elizabeth City State and had several stints at Virginia Union and several other schools in the CIAA. So there's be some familiarity with the coaches, but to get two championship teams that are going to be represented on that Sunday at the NFL Hall of Fame Stadium, wow, it's just a tremendous honor.
And the week after that, September 12th, Winston-Salem State, another first-year head coach in Horry Woodbury, who is a familiar face around here. He coached high school football in Charlotte and spent a couple of years as offensive coordinator at Smith before you arrived.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, anytime you play the Rams, it's a big game. But we look forward. It's just different now playing them so early. And with football in the CIAA has went from the northern and southern divisions. And so when you look at the schedules now of everyone in the conference, you can see that there's not what we used to call crossover games. And then you have the Southern Division games, which was your Livingstones and all of those folks, Winston-Salem, Fayetteville States. So you would always have them on the back end of your schedule. Now you can see that if you look at our schedule now, you've got everyone everywhere. And so when you play those Rams in week 3, it really helps get your season off to it's almost like a classic coming that early. So to play those Rams early is going to be great. We're going to be going to their place. One of our few games on natural grass. And we won't have any problem with motivation that week. Coach Barry Tripp, our associate head coach, defensive coordinator, of course, we know he's a Ram, but we got to add to it now, Robert Massey. So Robert Massey just finished up a stint there as head coach for the last 6 years. He's now with us, so it's going to be it won't be hard to get these Golden Bulls motivated for week 3, or game 3 in Winston-Salem. It's going to be a very exciting time. Looking forward to our first conference game. And as the conference now moves to also, besides no northern and southern division, it's an 8-game conference schedule. So moving from 7. So we now have 8 games that'll determine who goes to the conference championship. And for us, that's going to be number 1, our conference opener. So we'll be excited to go visit those Rams.
I'm just kind of playing the role of color commentator here, but what does that say, again, about your program, where you got a lot of coaches that are at these typical quote-unquote powers wanting to come to JCSU now and be a part of this coaching staff?
Wow, it just says a lot about the culture that we have built here together. you know, we haven't had a lot of turnover on our staff, but we've had former head coaches on our staff, and now to have a coach he was not a coordinator, to now get a head coach at one of the better jobs in Division II at Albany State, it really says that they're doing some good things at JCSU. And so we're treating the players right. We have a good plan for them year round. And another way that you can look at culture also is go look at the transfer portal and how many student athletes leave a program. Okay, and again, young men leave because of the possibility of not getting enough playing time and wanting to be evaluated differently. But if you look at us, I think that's a true measure of who we are and the plan that we have for each one of our student athletes. Each year of the transfer portal, we've been under 10 young men that hit the transfer portal. And I think it just says a whole lot about our coaching staff, and it says a whole lot about the young men that we recruit, that they believe that we want to develop you to play. We don't run to the portal to go get 30 starters or guys to compete. We went to the portal very, very specifically about specific positions, but we want to be able to fill open positions with guys that we have on campus. They know the system. And so that's where we want to look first. And if we feel that we have to go to the portal, we want to go to the portal with a whole lot of what we call intentionality of where we're going. We're not just throwing darts in the dark.
You're firing a rifle, not a shotgun.
Exactly, exactly. And so I think we've been doing a very good job of that. And it's attractive to coaches that coaches on the outside can see stability, they can see a plan, they can see that there's a lot of things that are delegated. I mean, I have several coaches on staff that, you know, when they take over a job, they take over the job full-heartedly. And so it's just everyone working together. It's a team. Our coaching staff shows our program what a team looks like to work together. And that's part of our success here. And I think that's what's attractive to some guys that are head coaches, have been head coaches or coordinators that want to come and be a part of, because you know, we work well together.
Now, you mentioned the CIAA scheduling, and it's an 8-game schedule now.
Yes.
And I have been maybe not critical, but okay, I was critical of the CIAA for the 7-game schedule, and teams are playing 8 CIAA schools, and you're left scratching your head, is that a conference game?
Yeah.
Does that count? But now if everybody's playing 8,
Yes.
every game counts.
Yes, sir.
That takes a load off everybody's mind.
Yes, sir, it does. And there were 2 years where we were sort of wondering what was going on. Well, really 1 year, and that was the 24 season, and it really had a lot to do with St. Augustine's not playing football, not playing athletics, and so that really caused everyone to have to scramble to what was going to count, what wasn't going to count. The 24 season was one like no other for us at JCSU. Yeah, we made a lot of history, but we were also in the middle of some of the uncertainty. And some of that uncertainty was you had a large contingent of fans that were, if these games were counted a certain way, it would have been Johnson C. Smith and Winston-Salem State in the playoff game. In the championship game. And that was because each team had beat Virginia State. And then I believe we had beat Union and things like that. And so
the Union game didn't count.
The Union game didn't count. So, but what we did in our program was we just said, hey, you have to take care of your own business. And that's what we talk about, those things in training camp, that you don't want to get to where you're scoreboard watching, hoping that this team beats that team to help you. If you take care of your business yourself, you don't have to scoreboard watch. And so that was a goal for us in 25. We learned from 24, and some of the confusion was cut down in 24 with the bylaws that the conference made for 25, and we didn't have that scenario in 24. And so now what the conference has done for the next 7 years, they've got a rotating schedule. It's going to be an 8-game conference schedule. And so we look forward to it. It's different, but hey, when there's success, with success there comes change. And I think with the conference doing so well in football, it's had to cause this positive change for us.
Well, at least you took some headaches off.
Yeah.
One thing before we get to the next game, you mentioned handling business,
Yes.
and then that 24 season, if you don't fall to Fayetteville State, then that team in Salisbury, as you
Yes,
call them,
yes.
you handle your business, and you are in the CIAA championship. Well, in 25, talk about the flip, talk about handling business. You lose early, but
Yes.
then you know, okay, now we've got it now, pretty much. And you go into it.
When you look at the 2 years, how they look similar, they're really totally different in how we learned. We say we don't lose in our program, we learn. And so we learned so much in 24. To be 8-0, ranked in the top 25 first time ever, just so many things going. It was tough to handle. And so, you know, we lose a game, and then in that one game, you know, they always say when you don't let one game beat you twice. And that was some of what happened. And again, some immaturity on our end also. But again, it's just steps in the process. And when you look at steps in the process, we're not talking about a team that has occasionally or sometimes or often been in championship conversations. You know, I'm always quick to say JCSU is a program that for the last 40 years, we averaged 2.3 wins. So we're not talking about familiar ground. It was all brand new. And so to go through that situation and not have the success, it really is just part of it. When you talk about other programs, there's other programs that coaches take over, and they're taking over a program that has seen success. We haven't seen success on a regular basis at JCSU in a very long time. So
You have to learn how to handle it.
oh, exactly, and that's part of it. Winning costs. Winning does cost you, and sometimes negatively. And we experience some of that. And that, again, that's just part of building a championship program. You have to take on things that you normally did not have to take on, and you don't just have to take them on, you have to take them on in the right way. And so we've done that. And so now there's another step for us. Now that we've corrected things from 24 and we've won a championship in 25, which is very hard to do, what do you do in 26? Everything is a learning opportunity. And then you look at 25, how we had to do it. We really learned from Virginia Union, not just learning from the loss, but you look at what happened to Virginia Union in 24 when they lost to us on our field. That's what we did as a team. As a team, we looked at Virginia Union once they got beat by Johnson C. Smith. Everyone that they played on their schedule next, they beat them pretty handily. Okay, and then they got to their ultimate goal, which was getting the championship game, and then they went on a playoff run. So we looked at what a good team does. I mean, they're back-to-back champions. We followed what they did. We wanted to win every game that was left on the schedule, one game at a time, and we did that. And then we had the opportunity to play them in the championship game. And it wasn't about revenge. There was never any talk about revenge because of what they did to us in the regular season. They beat us in the regular season at their place. We took that loss, learned from it. And the biggest thing we took from the loss on my part was I didn't think I handled the weather delay very well for our program. The game was scheduled to start at 6 o'clock. There was lightning, and it caused the game not to start until 7:30. And I didn't feel like I handled those 2 to 3 hours very well, from warm-ups for the regular start time to when warm-ups started for the game to start at 7:30. And so really the entire week that we were getting ready to play in the championship game, the whole thing was, let's just make sure the game starts on time and we'll be okay. so the game started on time, and we had a great performance, and we won the CIAA championship, first time in 56 years. And now we're on to the 26th season, which is going to be a big one for us.
Yeah, and continuing with that theme, first home game, Fayetteville State, the Eddie McGirt Classic Hall of Fame weekend.
Yes.
And there are a lot of key moments in games last year, and I think the Fayetteville State game was the grow-up game.
Yes, sir. When you look at there's so many storylines to JCSU football and Fayetteville State, and you have to start with the coaches. I was an offensive coordinator there. The first years that started the string of 6 years in a row going to the championship game. Barry Tripp was the defensive coordinator there. Coach Bowser coached at Fayetteville State, won, I want to say, 3 championships there, part of 3 different coaching staffs there. And then you have to go to Coach James Lott. He was on the championship staff in 22. And so you have those storylines, and then you have players that were at Fayetteville State that are now with us, or vice versa. So there's a lot of just common ground there. And for us to build our program to where we're playing Fayetteville State, and it's an opportunity to go. You look at all 3 games that we played. In 22, when we played Fayetteville State for homecoming, we lost by a touchdown. In 23, at Fayetteville State, we lost 14-7. In 24, we're 8-0, and they beat us 27-0. We're leading the conference in scoring, and somehow we come out and score 0. It just was a game that you can't explain, but a loss that we had to take. And so now to go to Fayetteville State, you have to have that win to a team that you have not beaten, with everything that goes into it. And then a game, if you look at the game, was a game that we really were dominating most of the game. We were dominating most of the game from 20-20, but we either have turnover or a blown assignment, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's a 1-score game. And then they took the lead. And it's like, how can a game that we've been dominating come down to a 3rd down and 17 with under a minute left? And you look at it, and we just showed some clips of that to our team last week, that for a team to reach that level, 3rd and 17, an opportunity to go to the championship game that's on the line, everyone on the field has to have trust in each other. And for the quarterback, Keldon Durham, to have the presence of mind to throw a check down. These are things that we work on in January, February, and March, that we say when you have a 3rd and plus, that we're not looking at getting it all, we're looking at getting a piece of it so that we have a chance to get the next down. And so for him to go to the check down to get to Bobby T, and now it's a 4th and 8, much more manageable than a 4th and 17 trying to go for it all. That just really is a sign of growth, as you said. It's a sign of growth in a program, and we grew a whole lot to score a touchdown and then to win. But again, to be in a game where you were dominating and it looked like you're going to lose, how do you recover from that? How do you recover from having a good season to now a game you're dominating and should win that you're going to lose? But it's just we had a refuse to lose mentality, and to pull that out and then to get to win the next week. Hey, we wrote some history.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I'll tell you this, that was probably one of the better games I've ever had the opportunity to cover, going down there to Fayetteville. But I looked at Herb after the 3rd and distance, and I told him, I was like, I think they're going to win the game. And he asked me at the time, he was kind of like, well, why? And I was like, well, because that's just such a heavy play. You mentioned that you don't have to get the 4th and a mile.
Yes.
You're working with 7 to 8 yards versus a large distance.
Yes.
So I liked how you described that. It's the growth and the maturity that you saw really over the course of the season, but in that moment to be able to do that, knowing your season's on the line.
Yes.
That was really impressive.
It speaks a lot of Keldon Durham and just his headiness, and then also the team. What we showed the team 2 days ago in a team meeting was you really to be in a situation where all the marbles are on the line. You have to trust everyone out there. And I was just going with the laser pointer at each guy that was on the field at that time. There was trust in everyone that was out there, and there has to be for you to take a check down on 3rd and 17, 3rd and 18, to get it to 4th and 7, 4th and 8, to go for it on 4th down, and then score the winning touchdown the next play. Very, very emotional moment for our program, but something that we had grown to. I think being around the program the way that you all have since we started, we had grown to that point. So much so, I know we're going through the schedule, but even in the last game of the season against the team from Salisbury, even though we were down at that point, we knew we were going to win the game. There was never any doubt on the sideline that we were going to win the game. And so, again, just growth. And so glad to be a part of it, but we have to keep growing because this isn't the 25 team anymore, which my 26 team is showing me daily. They are not the 25 team. This is a 26 team that's going to be different than 25.
Yeah, well, my takeaway from the Fayetteville State game last year, you cried and the legend of Bobby T was born.
Yes.
Well, the gumption to not call a timeout as the clock's well under a minute, and you convert the 4th down, you're like, nope, we're not going to give them a chance to set up their defense. Bobby T running down their throat.
There we go. And really, you look at that whole place, that whole scenario, that last series of our drive, we had an opportunity to call a timeout, but we wanted the clock to run because we didn't want them to get the ball back. And we have total faith in our defense. We showed not just that game, but all season, but especially the next week against the team from Salisbury, where we could have kicked the field goal, but if we kick the field goal and it is blocked, then our best weapon on our team, our defense, doesn't take the field. So there's trust all around, and so and that's what I just want to say. We have to keep going and growing in trust to play championship level football.
Okay. All right, so we're going to jump ahead to the next week, October 3rd, Bluefield State in West Virginia. You're going on the road again. Just doesn't seem like you're getting a whole lot of home games in, but that's where we're going. Bluefield will probably still remember what happened to them last year.
Yes, as they should. They should. They should remember it. But I want to add this. We're coming off of a bye week, a much needed bye week, because you look at those first 4 games that you went through. Benedict, playoff opponent, championship game participant, Albany State, Winston-Salem State, Fayetteville State. A bye has to be next. You have to take a bye after those 4. And I'm glad we have a bye. And then we'll get a chance to play Bluefield State, which I'm sure anytime a team beats you for homecoming, anytime a team beats you and there's a large deficit, you're going to remember that. But it's also a measuring stick game. What we know that we have done by winning a championship and by building our program the way that we have is that we are a measuring stick now for teams. Teams want to play us to say, okay, they've won a championship and they used to be a team that was a cellar dweller. How do we measure up against that team? Because what people can look at, what teams and programs can look at when they see us is, it can be done. It can be done to be a team that doesn't win a lot. Then you come and put a good plan together, and then you go build a championship. It can be done, and we've done that. And so I know Bluefield's going to look for ways to measure themselves against us. They have an outstanding young coach. Coach Morgan does an outstanding job. You can see the growth in this program in the 2 years that he's been the head coach. You can see that they have grown. So I know it's going to be a challenging game for us on the road, but it's just something that comes with being a championship caliber program. You have to win your home game, but you have to know that when you go on the road, you're going to get not just the team's best shot, you're going to get their fans' best shot also. So all things that I would say that we have earned over the course of building our program. You look at the last 3 years, we played in some very high-profile games. We've been at a Beach Bowl. We've been in Alabama at the Red Tails Classic. We've been in Boston at the Essence Classic. So you're looking at a team that has played in big stages, played in national TV games, played in the championship game on national TV. We feel like whatever environment that we go to, we should be able to put on a very good show.
Yeah, well, it helps to get accustomed to it.
Yes.
And then after that, October 10, home again, Shaw.
Yes. Well, looking forward to the outstanding coach. That's where it starts with Shaw University. Outstanding young mind there, Coach Manigo. He's building his program. It's going to be his 2nd year. His defensive coordinator, Chip Vaughn. We worked together at Fayetteville State, my first year at Fayetteville State. He's got a very good staff, and so they're going to be building, and I'm glad they're coming here this season. We played them for their homecoming, I want to say in Durham County last year, and so it was good to get that win on their homecoming. I believe we recorded a shutout, something that I'm sure they remember very vividly. And
bad choice for them.
Yeah, yes. So, but it was good for us to play that game and also get a chance to be on that field where the CIAA championship game is going to be played.
So is this game going to be also?
It's not going to be our homecoming. Our homecoming is going to be the following week.
Oh, even better.
We didn't want to return the favor with Shaw University.
Okay, and so the week after that, October 17, Lincoln of Pennsylvania.
Yes,
Not to be confused with Lincoln of Missouri.
No, not to be confused with them. And these Lincoln Lions, we're looking forward to getting them here for our homecoming. And it's going to be a challenge. Got an outstanding coach, and Coach Frank Turner, and then the offensive coordinator. We worked together at Fort Valley State. Joe Hirsch, outstanding mind, and knows how to get guys open. He's actually the OC that beat us in the Beach Bowl when we played. So I know Coach Tripp will have us ready to go against Coach Hirsch because they had a little bit of success against us in that Beach Bowl. And so we want to make sure that we're ready for those people when they come play us for our homecoming.
For those who don't know, the Post publisher, Gerald Johnson, is a Lincoln alum. And so we have a lot of nice banter in the office talking about the Lincoln Lions. So that'll be a fun game, I'm sure.
they're going to enjoy homecoming afterwards.
And then October 24, Bowie State, which is also new to the schedule.
Wow, this is we're going into our 5th year. This will be our first time playing Bowie State. Outstanding head coach they just hired, championship coach Dawson Odoms, had a long history, a long tenure at Southern University. He's a North Carolina guy. He's from up in Shelby Crest area. So we've been bumping each other on the recruiting trail a little bit. But Coach Odoms is assembling a very good staff at Bowie State. We know it's going to be a challenge. When you have a coach that takes over a program that knows how to build a winner, he's going to do things the right way. You're going to see that program take steps, and I'm just glad we're catching him early in the process. But it's going to be late in the season, so he's going to have had a chance to start putting some things in for his program. Be much better when you have a new coach, a new staff. It's better to catch them early than late, but we get a chance to see them a little later in the schedule. But it's going to be our first. Going to be another good road trip for us as we travel to Bowie State to play them.
Okay, and October 31, Halloween, Virginia State.
Wow, you know, hey, this is a heck of a ball game to have at week 9. We know Henry Frazier, championship coach at Bowie State, the rebuild job that he did at Prairie View A&M, which I don't believe still gets talked about enough. That was a program that had the longest losing streak in the nation. And he took the program over and built it into a winning program. That right there is mind-boggling. And to really go in and do the things that he did at Prairie View. And it's really similar to what we did here at JCSU. But we've got Coach Frazier coming to us. And it's amazing that that's week 9. It's the week before the big rivalry games. So you got a game that's going to have championship implications, week 9 with Virginia State, and then we've got week 10 with the team from Salisbury. So it's going to be a very challenging game. He's got a quarterback coming back. I believe that was second team all CIAA, young guy. He's a freshman, he's going to be a sophomore. And what happens from your freshman year to your sophomore year, you're going to see a lot of growth. So he's going to be a much better quarterback. You'll see his touchdowns go up and probably his interceptions go down. Completion percentage will probably go up. It just comes with age. And so you got a quarterback, you've got a shot, and he's got a good one.
And you also have a win streak going against Virginia State.
Yes.
So I'm sure they'll be motivated for that.
Oh, absolutely. We played Virginia State at their place last season. I believe it was a big game for sure because we were just coming off a loss. Well, we had lost to Virginia Union, then we beat Bluefield State, and then we had to make another trip back to Virginia and to Petersburg or Ettrick, as they want to say. Yes. So, big city of dreams. And so we had to go make that visit, and our team played very well on that day. And Coach Frazier, I know he's looking forward to having another return trip with a chance to go against us because his big rival against Virginia Union is the next week. And, you know, when you get that late in the season, it's championship games all through there that have championship implications. And this is going to be one of them, playing those Virginia State Trojans as they come to town.
And the regular season caps on November 7th at the commemorative classic, this time in Salisbury, against the Livingstone College Blue Bears.
Well,
Can you say that?
I cannot. But you know what? I'm going to lighten it up a little. I'm going to say it one time.
Oh.
And I want to tell this story is that for the Legacy Bowl, as they were choosing the rosters, we're a couple of offensive linemen short of 10. And so the organizers were like, well, hey, if there's some other quality senior offensive linemen out there, let's reach out. And so I reached out to all the CIAA coaches, and Coach Sean Gilbert was the first one to give me a response. He's like, Coach, I got a guy. And I said, look, send us information, and we'll see how it goes. And so what I'll use this moment to say, as much as we go at it and compete, and it is the rivalry, I'll say this as a JCSU alum, the rivalry with the team in Salisbury is not a friendly rivalry. It is a real rivalry. They don't like us, we don't like them. But you know what? We want the best for them though. And so very glad to say that their right tackle, he got a bid to the Legacy Bowl, had an outstanding week, an outstanding performance, but that's who we are within the HBCU community. I mean, we want to look out for everyone. As much as we might get after each other, as much as I want to get them, and yes, I'm going to say it, on the Smurf turf. We're going to play up there on the Smurf turf. We do have love for each other.
Yes.
So that's where our Week 10 is. And this will be my 5th year at JCSU. We've played in Salisbury 2 years and we've lost. So I don't have a win on the Smurf turf, and we're looking to go get a win on the Smurf turf against.
If it's late in the game and it's close, are we gonna be running the ball? Or are we gonna be slinging that thing? Because that was my.
Oh my!
I looked at her, I'm like, why is he throwing? He can just run it.
Yes.
Yeah, Q Crouch in the backfield.
It was, and we were less timeouts. Is what down there we were on that last drive. Oh my goodness, like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday.
You still seeing your dream?
I do. I know what I see. I see our quarterback going late to the flats opposite, where we should have been going immediately, and I see their defensive back catching it, ran down the sideline. And as he ran down the sideline, I saw our CIAA hopes and playoff hopes running right with him. And so a lot of learning came from.
It's a good thing that's 2 years ago.
Oh yes, 2 years ago. And going to the game that we just played is boy, they had an outstanding defense last year. 4 defenders off of that team hit the transfer portal and are Division I football players. Mm-hmm. Now that says a whole lot about what they're doing in Salisbury. To have 4 guys on your team, and one of them led the country in sacks and TFLs, and I'm glad he's gone out there. Number 12, man, he was a load. I mean, something we have prided ourselves on is pass protection, and we've never had to send extra help to one particular guy. Well, we did that game, and so he was a wrecking crew, but he helped everyone around him play better, and we're glad he's gone. We won't have to game plan for him, but we'll be looking forward to Game 10, the regular season finale in Salisbury against the team from Salisbury on the Smurf turf, and looking to get our first win in the tenure that we have been here.
You talk about all kinds of stuff with the schedule.
Yes.
But the other side of this is, and I know we're veering off now, but the one thing that you talk about as soon as the offseason started was improving on 2025. And in order to do that, you've got to build a better roster. And you said this was the best team Smith has ever had, which is true. But now it's what have you done with me lately kind of game. So what is that roster looking like now?
I tell you what, this roster, as it's being assembled now, it's going to be very talented, but the chemistry and the leadership has to be built within this roster. We have a lot of guys that are familiar with the system. We have a lot of guys that have not done it on the field. It's just as simple as this right here. You look at our defense, one that's been one of the tops in the country, in the top 10 the last 3 years. We lose 9 starters off of a defense. We lose everyone in the secondary. Okay, we had a safety, TJ Tabor, started for 4 years. A safety in Tynan Tucker. We had 2 corners in Ty Hines, number 8, or Ronte Dunbar, number 23. And then nickel, he was just in here lifting weights. Trey Bass, that's 5 secondary guys gone. Then you lose Will Becker and Q Crouch and Christian Eames. You lose both of those guys that started for you. There's 6 starters gone. And then you lose Jalen Alexander, who's a 4-year starter at defensive end. You lose Kadrika Stanley to the transfer portal and CIAA defensive tackle. And then you lose Stenny Joseph to graduation. That's 9 starters gone off of the defense. And so, do we have other guys within the program? Yes, but there's no chemistry with those guys being starters. And so, then on the offensive side, we did a breakdown with the team the other day. If you look at leaders in our program, we lost over 25 leaders. We have a leadership council, and our leadership council this past season, it was 14 guys. Okay, we have about 140 guys in the program, and our leadership council pretty much runs the team. We've said it since day one that the championship level teams are teams that are player led. not coach-led. And for the last 2 seasons, I would say we're a player-led team. Well, right now we're being a coach-led team because we lost so many leaders. We lost about 12 to 14 leaders on the offensive side. We lost about 12 to 14 leaders on the defensive side. And some of these guys were guys that did not start either. They were guys that they did everything right. A leader, a lot of times, not a guy that starts and makes plays. A leader is someone within your organization that does things the right way, sets the right example for others to follow. And we have done a good job in our program of helping to build leaders. And so what we have done now is we've run the cycle of a team, and the cycle is now a big group has graduated out. And so now we have a job of preparing the next group where we did some leadership training with them, but right now it's still going. They're learning on the job. And so what I can say right now, you heard me say earlier that this 26 team shows me every day that they're different from the 25 team. They show me in how we're being led right now. We're being led differently. We do have some outstanding leaders, but we have some leaders that are stepping into, okay, now it's my time to lead. And so we've got to do a lot of great work with our leadership council, with just our team in general and team bonding type of things. So that's what we have to build. The chemistry is going to come. The chemistry will come as the leadership within the team gets better. So we won a championship with some guys that came in together and they just built this program and took it to new heights. Well, those guys now graduated and eligibility is exhausted. Now that has to be replaced. And I tell you what, there is no substitute for experience. And we lost some experience, but what we have made up for, we do have some talented guys, but we just got to make sure that we come together as a collective unit and just keep building every day. And that's what we're doing. That's what the off season is for. That's what the summer will be for. It'll be for just bonding together and growing and getting ready to go through some experiences that's going to help us go about every week and going towards a championship.
Yeah, well, that's what spring ball is all about.
Yes, sir.
To get a look at folks that you may not have seen on the field in an actual game, and measure them up for the next season.
Yes.
So it's all going to be good stuff, and we're looking forward to the schedule because it's daunting in a different kind of way.
Yes.
And we'll be there for the chronicling of it as usual, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And for you out there who are listening to us or watching us, be sure to go on our website, charlottepost.com, and become a donor or a subscriber. The sports newsletter, you can also sign up for that. It comes out every Thursday. We curate it in-house, and it has all the stuff that we do locally. And since football season never is, there's going to be plenty of Johnson C. Smith content in there as well. So for everybody back at the office at Beautiful Derrida, that's Cam, that's the coach, I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.